And hello and welcome to the GhostÉire channel. Tonight we're doing an hour-long chat with guests Phil Whyman and Dale Dickinson from Are You Haunted? We're just going to check in now. So can you hear me, guys?
Yes, we can. Good evening.
How you doing, lads? So if you like to ask Dale or Phil a question tonight, you can do by just leaving a comment on this live feed. We're on for the next hour. If you're affiliated with any paranormal team or tourist attraction, please do put in brackets the name of the organization and we'll give a quick shout out to you. We'll also be having a quiz tonight as well. The topics of conversation we'll be talking with Dale and Phil about is their most compelling experiences, locations they have done, which would include Thorn Workhouse in Doncaster, and the senses, the human senses used in paranormal investigating. Now, if you want to send us an email, you can do. You can go to GhostÉire66@yahoo.com. You can go to the contact page, fill in the blanks. If you'd like to leave a private message, just put in brackets private message. We'll try and pull out all your comments tonight. And if you have any questions for the Are You Haunted team, please do. So first of all, as well, I think that's about it. Hi, Dale. Hi, Phil. How you doing?
All right, thank you, Anthony. Yourself? Yeah, all good.
All good. And so the first question, I'm going to just say a few highs out there before we start anything there.
Just a quick one. I can't hear
Claude,
Phil.
Eddie, you can't hear Phil. Can you hear me, Phil? Oh, wait, I've got... All right. I think I can hear.
Mute me.
I've
That's
just
better.
muted Phil.
There we go.
No, there's
a lot of
reason
people want. A lot of people do want to mute me, but that's just.
There is a reason for that, which we'll explain later. Especially with the F-bomb. I'm just going to put a few highs. So Eddie Claude says, hi, guys.
Evening, Eddie.
Hello.
Thanks, Eddie. Thank you, Eddie, there. So we got a new message from Jerry Michelle Beavers. She's from in the United States. Hi, Jerry.
Hi, Jerry.
How you doing? She says hi to you guys.
Hi, Jerry.
She also says, my friend turned me on to you.
Oh,
okay.
Thank you very much.
Great.
Jerry's
Thanks,
friend.
Jerry. That's great. You know, I was thinking she was saying something else there, but you know, no harm there, Jerry. It's after 9 o'clock, and we got Phil on anyway, So the most compelling evidence. Do you want to first tell us? I suppose I'll ask Dale first there about Are You Haunted? What do you do that's different to other ways of paranormal investigating?
This is more of a question for Phil. He's the producer. He's the guy. He's the boss as such, along with Sarah. But
okay,
what we like to do different is we are back to basics. We don't use equipment. We only use our own sensors. We go into a location and we use everything that we've got as people, our eyes, our ears, our own sensors, and that's it. We don't use K2s or EMF meters or whatever. All we've got video cameras with night vision, and that's it basically. And that's all we use. And
the idea of it is it's Sarah's concept for the show, and the idea is that when a high percentage of paranormal experiences occur when nobody, it's not under an investigation scenario. So it's people are doing mundane things like hanging out the washing, or perhaps watching TV, or just sitting down at a theatre show or something like that. And they're not walking around with shed loads of equipment. And that's what we want to do. We want to put ourselves in that situation that the high percentage of people witness paranormal experiences are actually in themselves, i.e. with no paranormal equipment. And that's what we try and do.
Yeah.
And as I seen it there with the... Yeah, go ahead, Phil.
I was saying, as Dale says, we try to, well, we do not use any of the kind of gadgets that you see all over the place on other TV shows. Because, I mean, we've used those gadgets a heck of a lot in the past. I've been doing this for a long time. Sarah's been doing this for a long time, and so has everybody on the show. And we've used every kind of gadget that you can imagine. And we want to get away from all that, because in our experiences, when we used to run paranormal events for the public, we would hand out pieces of equipment, and by the second vigil, nobody was taking anything out, because they prefer to do everything with their own senses to see what they pick up, to see what they feel. And we think that's a good idea, and that's a good way to go about it. So that's exactly, again, why. And people are getting fed up with the gadgets, because they're kind of coming around to the fact that not an awful lot of them do what they're supposed to do, and there's no connection to picking up spirits or ghosts in the first place with them.
True. And Dale, you've done that? You've had that sort of lifestyle as well, I suppose, with investigating. You've had that in the past prior to Are You Haunted as well, with investigating with gadgets and.
Very much like Phil. I've done public investigations with Phil and Sarah and the guys, and as Phil said, it was a case of we always used to use equipment, but there's never been any definitive proof there that what they're picking up is paranormal, spiritual. So it is personally better to go without any equipment. As I say, your senses are heightened when you go into a dark building with no lights on. You're all of a sudden more tuned in to what's there. And when something does come along, when you do get some evidence, it's all the more real, because you're not seeing the evidence on an EMF meter, for example. You're seeing it yourself. You're hearing something, or you're seeing something, or you're feeling something, and none of that's told by any equipment. So it's more natural. It's more real.
I think it's important also to say that we're not telling people to stop using the equipment. Obviously, every one of us has got an opinion about it. That's just the way we operate. So, you know, by all means, we're not saying don't use it. If you want to use it, feel free to use it. Just, that's just the way we operate at the moment.
Yeah.
And it's a refreshing way. I've seen it there, like as you mentioned, equipment. With paranormal teams, those that do public events and so on. It's just a marketing tool mainly there, or it's just to break people, just to lure like a rabbit into the car lights. say like the K2 meter, as you mentioned, the flashing lights on it, it's just like Christmas. But as well, it's so you do like what I've seen with the series you do with Are You Haunted. What I found fascinating was that you all sit down together at the beginning of the show and you evaluate which 3 places you'd like to go to. And without giving the name of the location, I don't know if probably one of you will probably know because you give the file to the whole group. Is going back to compelling evidence there, is any locations you've done that you found have worked with better without the equipment and experiments? Dale?
That's a hard question to answer, because what we've done with Are You Haunted, we've gone to locations that have very rarely been investigated. So we're not going back to places that we've already done as public investigations with equipment. Let's say, just for example, one close to me, the Galleries of Justice in Nottingham. We've done that location numerous times with all this equipment, and we've gathered evidence from that location, for example, but that's not somewhere we'll go back to with Are You Haunted, because what we want to do as a show is go to somewhere that's not been investigated before. We want to go to somewhere new that people don't know of, and ask that exact question: Are you haunted? Rather than going somewhere that's popular and well known. It sort of goes away from what concept we want. So it's not really an easy question to answer, to be honest, Anthony, because, as I say, we're going to places that haven't really been done before. So,
having said that, we have had quite a lot of decent evidence. I mean, all evidence to me and to the rest of the team, even if it's a small thing that we can't explain, that's brilliant as far as we're concerned, because something's actually happened. But we have been to a lot of locations where things have happened and that we can't explain. There's a few programs out that we've got to put together yet that people haven't seen, so I can't really talk about those bits and pieces because that'll give it away. But it's like, for instance, episode 1 of series 2, when we were at Penryn Old Hall, we got an absolutely brilliant voice captured on audio from one of the cameras. Totally caught us off guard. And then you go back to Thorn Workhouse, where we had all kinds of weird things going on. Even to the point where we were just kind of still setting up and things were happening, and we were hearing noises and footsteps and that kind of thing. So we do get quite a lot of interesting bits and pieces go off that we can't explain. So
as I was on the radio show yesterday here in Cork, and there was a lady in a house, and she was hearing weird sounds, and they recorded it. I suppose we'll probably touch on that later with sensors there. I'd just like to just put in a few shout outs there. Michael Ryan says, hi all. Hi, Michael. Thanks for tuning in. Michael tunes into the show. We have somebody called Sarah Whyman. I don't know who she is. I'm only joking.
He's upstairs.
Why are you, man? Kevin, thank you, Kevin. Kevin's from Florida, and he was out there. Kevin said hello. Kevin's in Florida.
Hi,
Kev.
We'll go to a question. Eddie Claude, did you ever? This is a question for you both. Did you ever try to help encourage spirits to go to the light of the other side? Now, so have you ever encouraged spirits to go to the light of the other side? I suppose, Phil, would you like to answer that? And I'll pass it on to Dale.
I can honestly say that no, we haven't. I mean, as I see it, if there are spirits, then I don't see why they can't have their own kind of free will and go wherever they want. If they want to go to wherever they should ultimately end up going, then that's up to them when and where when they do that. They choose to do that. So I don't see why there's any reason to kind of encourage anyone into the light if you look at it that way. But of course, we've got to remember we still don't even know whether ghosts or spirits exist to that extent. But it'd be nice to finally, you know, if they did exist, to think that they've got their own kind of free will like we do, and they can go wherever they want. And then when they get fed up of wandering around here and going boo at people and opening doors or throwing bits and pieces of stones, they'll probably go, well, you know, I'm off. I'll see you when I see you. I'll see you on the other side, and then off they go.
Yeah.
So, I think that's a nice way to look at it.
What's your opinion there? Yeah, true. That's definitely. I agree with you there, Phil.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dale.
Yeah, I'm the same with Phil. We, as the living, can go wherever we want when we want, if we weren't in lockdown. But there is no. We're not behind prison walls. Effectively, we can go when we want, where we want. And what's to say that it's not like that on the other side? Those spirits that are there that we're talking to, we're looking at, that they can go where they want. Why would we make them do something they may not want to do? Why would we ever encourage them to go over somewhere else if they're happy being where they are, doing what they're doing?
True. I totally agree there. I think it's how we have to change our lives around them, because if I was to pass over, I would love to kick a ball up against the wall, probably even 12 o'clock at night for a bit of exercise in the other realm. I would probably also, you know, what people think might be a demonic energy, demons, I wouldn't classify them as a ghost anyway, could be a little 2-year-old child as well, like spirit. I know I've got kids myself, and they throw stuff around there, and they, you know, their voices are bad at times as well, you know. So I hope that answers your question there, Eddie. We've just got a few more shouts up. We got Jerry as well. Jerry says, do you guys have abilities, and if so, what are they?
I have an ability to lose my temper pretty quickly when we're filming. If people don't do their bits and pieces properly. No, I'm, as far as ESP, psychic abilities, I'm about as psychic as a house brick. So I've got nothing at all. I mean, having said that, I think we've all got a certain ability to a certain extent, as in sometimes I'll walk into a room and the back of my neck goes kind of all cold and tingly, like there's something watching me or somebody behind me watching me and that kind of thing. But as far as anything major is concerned, I've got nothing. Sorry about that. Dale might have.
You got any? Dale?
My opinion on that is, I think if you can sense something, so you do a paranormal investigation, and you can sense something, or you hear something, or you see something. I think that is your psychic ability doing that. I've experienced things in my own house before. I've been to numerous investigations and experienced things. And my opinion on that is, I don't think I'd have experienced them if I didn't have that ability. I'm not saying I'm psychic. I'm not saying I can look into a crystal ball and read the future, but I think there is something there that gives me that ability to look at, or to see or hear spirits. As I say, there's so many things that I've seen that I can't explain at all. There's something within me that's causing me to do that, to be able to see those things.
Yeah, I think the most, I think the person with the most ability on the team is probably Ben.
Yeah.
To be honest, Sarah and mine's son Ben. He's always experiences strange things, and it's kind of strange. He's obviously grown up and been brought up with all this kind of weird, ghosty, haunting things, but he's so down to earth with it. It's unreal. And I think he's the one that experiences more than anyone actually on the actual episodes. Most of the time it's Ben that experiences things.
Yeah.
And he's experienced things prior
It
to being on the show. I mean, out of all of us, I mean, Sarah and I and Ben used to live in a former 16th century hall when we rented it out for a year because we were told that it was haunted. So we actually rented it for a year, 12 months. And Ben experienced, and Sarah, but Ben experienced a lot of things there.
So we've just got a few shout, and I'm just going to add to that. Like Ben is Sarah and Phil's son is also in the Are You Haunted team, and it must be it's great to have a person, the next generation coming up, and it must feel really proud to have somebody like that. I'm hoping my kids are like that. I'm going to have to use my cat or something.
No,
so just a few shout outs. Go ahead, Phil. Yeah.
No, I'm going to say, no, he makes us really, really proud because we've seen how much he's kind of progressed when it comes to being in front of camera and actually talking and that kind of thing. So, and his rationality and logic behind some of the things that he's experienced, it's really good. It's good to see.
Yeah, it's refreshing. No, it's great. I'm just going to put up a few shout outs. So Tracy Finch says boo hoo.
Hi Tracy.
She's forgot the dot.
Hi Tracy.
She's forgot the dot. Forgot the .com there, as in ghost. She says boo. We have another few questions there. Eddie Cortez. I've never had any equipment to do investigations, but if a member is needed, count me in. I know, Eddie, yeah, but we'll see now in the future, because you said you'd like to join us as well, GhostÉire. So hopefully in the future, once this lockdown is over, we'll hook up soon there. Michelle Conley. Michelle, who was on the last show there, Michelle from Back in Time, Paranormal Investigators. Michelle likes to say I like their thinking. I was waiting to go on stage at a show and I had one of the best paranormal experiences I can remember. No equipment, not even looking for anything. That's well said there, Michelle. Michelle will be sort like ourselves in GhostÉire. She's into the old ways, spiritual ways of communication. Tracy Fink says, no, me don't. The coins and Ouija board, though, are not recommended. Thanks for that, Tracy. Tracy's commenting about the Ouija board. She's also said asylums are good. So we'll be talking about locations in the next agenda there. I'm just going to cut over to the quiz, folks. So we got a quiz tonight as well. So with a chance to win a special prize coming towards Halloween, you'll be entered into a special draw towards Halloween. So we're going to show you it's like a type of hangman. It's 2 words. And if you can get this, I'm going to go through what it is. So it's __R ___ A, a new word ___ A ___ E. So it's 2 words, and the clue is disappeared. So if you know what that answer is, don't say it yet, Phil or Dale.
I'm no good at stuff like this.
If nobody gets it. No. If nobody gets it at the end, I'll pass it to you there. You know, you might have it's not quarantine anyway. It's not that. That's not the answer. So I'm going to run through another few questions there before we go on to the next topic. As I was just one of the questions I'd like to say there is like, would you go, say if you've like one of those experiences like was compelling evidence there, is that, as you said, you go around new places, would you redo a place now that you've just done in the past?
That's a tough question. That'll be up to Sarah to decide that, really. But we'd all be obviously consulted as a group. At the moment, we've no plans to go back and do another stint at one of the venues we've already done. But you know the saying, never say never. But at the moment, I don't think, unless she's not, she's hiding something from me, that we've got plans to go back and do another one of the venues that we've done.
True. So what I'm going to do is go on to the next agenda, which is locations. And I'm going to show a bit of video. I'll just come down to questions a bit more as well, just a few highs. Hi, Phil. Janice Bradley says, hi, Phil and Dale.
Hi.
Hi, Janice. Thanks. Jerry says, and everything is open to interpretation. I can't make someone feel what I'm feeling during experience. Thanks for your comment there, Jerry.
Exactly.
Tracy Finch says she got scratched by a ghost once, ain't been back in to get it back, little Casper. All right, so she's, I think Tracy got scratched there. Kevin Ward says hi again. Hi, Kevin. And
hi, Kev.
Kevin says also he's very skeptical of the spirit box or the thanks box, which people might say. What do you guys think of those? I could ask you actually before we go on to location, Joe, what's your opinion on the spirit box there? I'll go with Dale first.
I've used the spirit box a few times. It's not something I really enjoy because what I find when you listen to a spirit box, you've got a lot of white noise with potentially some certain words coming through. But while that's on and you've got all this noise, you can miss things that are happening in that room or in that area. You might be in a really active room where there's knocks and bangs or footsteps or voices, but that's all drowned out by the spirit box. So it's not something I like to use personally.
True.
Yeah.
What do you reckon on that?
I don't particularly like the idea of the spirit box. I mean, again, we didn't stop people using them if they wanted to use them on the events that we used to run. I think they're open to too much interference, if I'm honest. And again, I think it's down to what words are being said, the listener interpreting those words to fit the scenario that they're in. So I don't really hold much water to them, to be honest.
Yeah, as you were saying there, Dale, like they do probably drown out, and you're concentrating on one thing instead of actually concentrating on your actual surroundings there as well. Yeah. Which is, I probably agree with that. I use it now and again, but it's even hard to review or go back on the evidence then as well, like with the sound as well.
That's it.
Another question. Tracy Finch says, yes, went to his pub 10 Bells, well, scary. And Jane Carrigan, another team member of Are You Haunted, says, give us a clue. He says hi as well there. That's sorry, Jane Carrigan. Close, similar surname to myself. Might be related, hopefully. So I'm just going to show a bit of footage now of what the guys do with Are You Haunted there. This is a video with really, folks, it just goes back to the basics of paranormal investigating, and it's refreshing to watch there. So I'm just going to show this piece of footage and we'll talk about locations now in a minute, especially Thorn Workhouse.
Wanted to give you something different.
I wasn't running away from it. I was really thinking to myself, what have I just actually seen?
We wanted to show you that it doesn't need to be faked.
Fuck me. Oh. Jesus Christ.
Stripped everything down back to basics.
Because these weren't here. These weren't in this position earlier.
No gadgets. No gizmos. No gimmicks. No bullshit.
So what you see is what you get.
Each episode brings a brand new location for us to investigate.
That is that door.
6 friends, 6 different personalities.
Same old format of the same old format of paranormal TV shows.
Give us a watch.
Any of you guys moved about 10 seconds ago?
Are you haunted? Are you haunted?
Investigating the paranormal like no one else.
Yes, and so that's Are You Haunted there? Oh, we got Phil up bigger again. Sorry for the folks there. So it's going back to basics, paranormal investigating with Are You Haunted? And I'm just going to talk about one of the locations you've done there. I think it's in series 1, and it's Thorn Workhouse in Doncaster. And your experience of that there, Dale, what was your experience there with it? That was in series 1, episode 3. Right, I've got you muted there. Sorry, 1 second. I'm muted.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. I've muted you. I can hear you now.
I don't think I've ever sworn so much in my life. I dropped the F-bomb quite a few times. Such a fantastic location with so much happening all the time. You couldn't put your finger on any one point in the building to something happening. It was all over the place, literally all the time. As Phil said earlier in the chat, literally before we'd even started, when we were setting things up, things were happening. And we're running around like blue-ass flies trying to grab cameras and run here and there, trying to film it because we hadn't even started. And then down the corridor with myself and Jane, I saw what I say is a shadow block the light out from behind the door. While I'm talking about that, the door opens on its own. It was on a latch, and everyone else was upstairs. There was myself and Jane downstairs. Everyone else was upstairs, and this door opened. And then that little clip in that video there, that VT there, was again myself and Jane just walking into the crew area, and there was a bang that we investigated. I dropped the F-bomb, then it happened again a lot louder, and it's stuff like that. There's nothing there. There was nobody in that room that could have caused that. There were no doors closed. It wasn't a door slamming or anything like that. The heating wasn't on, so there was no real changes in temperature, building movements or anything like that. So it's one of those locations that will forever be with me, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it had quite a profound effect on a lot of people. Certainly you and Jane. When we were doing the group talk about the actual venue itself, we were having noises off camera that were happening.
Yeah.
And then when we'd finished that group chat and the other guys had wandered off into the main hall, I was taking the kit down and I heard footsteps, a door close and footsteps coming from upstairs on the corridor. So I ran into the room where they were and I'm like, who's upstairs? And nobody's upstairs because, they're all in this room. So I was like, oh my God, quick, grab a camera and go upstairs and check it out. But there was all sorts of weird stuff. I mean, Ben heard a kind of a whisper breath in his ear, which you can hear on camera. And then another one that he didn't hear at the time, which we could catch, which we can hear on camera. So we go through every bit of footage. Sarah goes through every bit of footage to make sure we don't miss anything. And that's how we catch a lot of these things, because sometimes you don't hear them at the time, but when you go back on the cameras and the audio, you can either see it or hear it. So
I'm just going to add something. Sorry, I'm looking at the comments in the chat. Something I didn't say and add in. I screamed like a girl. Sarah says I won't mention that, but I am going to mention it just to make sure, just to get my own way. I did scream like a girl, to be honest.
I can't see the chat. How do I see the chat?
It's on the right-hand side of your screen, Phil.
No, there's nothing on, nothing on mine.
But yeah, I did. I screamed like a girl. Won't deny it. Yeah, and that's where the hashtag Dale Scream came from. But if you've not seen episode 3 yet, please do watch episode 1, series 1, episode 3, Thorn Workhouse. It is a phenomenal episode with so much happening, and yeah, you'll see me scream. There you go.
We do have it up on the GhostÉire page if people are watching. It's just on. We posted it up yesterday there, and what I noticed with the, like as you were describing it there, Phil, you were trying to do the interview and go through what people witnessed at the location. And already the knocking was happening, and then suddenly accompanied with the knocking was the F word.
I think it's important. I think it's important it's important to get across that every kind of reaction you see from us is genuine. It's not something we're putting on. It's not something we're putting on so we get viewers interested. That is actual genuine reactions. And there are times where things actually do catch us out, and we react in a way that normal people would react. Anybody would react on something bumping in pitch darkness and making a loud noise, and most people go, "What the hell was that?" Probably not that polite, but there you go.
It's true. It's that's the motion there. It happens all the time there, and you wonder what God, sometimes like my mother would hate to watch what I'm doing now. Not actually believes what I do. Just a few more shouts out. Joe Holden says, "Yay, Dale, you mentioned it."
I had to really. I've been criticised, didn't.
Laurie Ann, GhostÉire team member. Hi, Laurie. Hi, guys.
Hi, Laurie.
Hello. Hi, Laurie. Tracy Finch as well comes back. Has said, went to St. Mary's Hall first investigation. That's in the UK. I don't know where that would be there. You can tell us there, Tracy, which town.
If it's St. Mary's Guildhall, is that it's Coventry, St. Mary's Guildhall? If it's the same one, I don't know if it is.
The Guildhall. Yeah. The Coventry. Coventry's very spooky there. My wife's family were for Coventry there. And she like I have a partner as well, Phil, and she does the investigating with me as well, and the team there as well, and she's more in tune than I am. But going back to locations, like I would like to ask you then personally myself, is there any locations like in Ireland have you visited Ireland yourself, Phil?
I've not visited Ireland, and it actually came up a couple of weeks ago, to be honest, about perhaps going over there one day and seeing if we can get a couple of episodes done for Are You Haunted. I'd love to visit Ireland. I really would.
And yourself, Dale, have you been over the water? Or
I have. I have been over the water. I've only been as far as Dublin and that vicinity, Ballymun area, but I've never been into the country. Let's say I've never been into the rural side of Ireland. Never been to any of the castles or anything like that. I'd love to do something like that because it's such a beautiful country with so much history. It is something I'd love to do, but no, it's not something I've ever done, unfortunately. But yeah, I've been to Ireland.
Definitely. If you have any locations there, I know we're talking to another chat show tomorrow, I'll mention later on, even up in north and the south, just contact us all there and we'll put you through to some good places there.
Nice one. Very cool.
Brilliant.
As well, I'll just go back to that quiz thing there. I think Kevin said, is it the one word? No, it's 2 words. So it's, I'll just go on to quickly go on to that and then I'll come back to the questions again. So it's 2 words for the quiz. You can enter into a draw and it's to do with the clue. Now, the clue is disappeared, but I'll give you another clue. It's a location where you can be disappeared or can get disappeared. So it's fairly easy. It's 2 words. It's underscore. A. New word, underscore A, underscore E. Now, if you don't know what he gets at the end, Dale, I'll pass it on to Dale and Phil. So, first up, anyway, to see who gets it there. So just go through a few comments there. Sarah as well, she says Betty didn't mention it. He did mention it, Dale did mention it, and we put up on the screen and Phil mentioned it as well. That's to do with you screaming, Dale. Jane says he. Like we've all done it there now and again. Hi Mary. Mary was from Back in Time Paranormal Investigators.
Hi Mary.
Was on last week. And Mary wants to know, I just wondering if after visiting a location, you have been left with an emotional drain and a feeling that you've just tapped into something that needs so much more investigating. that's one of the questions I was going to ask, but Mary's got it in there, and that's to do with any place you've tapped in that you feel emotionally drained, but you need to go back to. I suppose we might.
That's a good question.
I've never
Penryn
felt
Old Hall.
Yeah, I've never felt I've never felt an emotional drain after visiting. I've never gone away from somewhere and felt an emotional drain, apart from tiredness. But while being at a location, yes.
Dale's always yawning if you watch any of the episodes.
Yeah, that's my only emotional drain is my tiredness. But no, I have felt oppressed before in a couple of locations. But do I say it needs more investigating? No, I don't think it does. I was happy with what we did there. And I think there was enough to leave it at that, to be honest. I don't think it needed any more.
Where was that?
I know it.
It was at Sheffield.
Oh, right.
Sheffield.
Is that one that's been aired?
Yeah, the
Endcliffe.
Sorry, Phil, say again.
Was it Endcliffe?
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of the name of it. Yeah, Endcliffe Hall.
And just like as you're saying there, like you like yawning and all that, I suppose we all have that. But my wife does that as well. Maybe it's just me. But I know investigations, she used to yawn a lot there. And then I suppose what changed was that because it was eating, making sure we ate before an investigation. We have proper good meals now as well. Like, and I suppose that's if you're doing, it's probably step one of doing an investigation is actually preparation and knowing what to eat and get your rest beforehand as well and prepared with whatever stuff you need.
Yeah, Dale used to work at a place that did confectionery and stuff like that. It was brilliant. We're flying around on sugar rushes.
Yeah, I never used to yawn then.
Jane says hi again. Laurie says I feel emotionally drained from every place. Like Laurie's with our team GhostÉire, and she's what you call say an empath. So she would feel a lot more stuff as well there, you know. And going back to locations as well. Sorry, last question on locations before we move on to the next agenda. Is there like a type of building or space or location that you've done that's completely different to what is commonly done, as in like architecture or history? So, for instance, have you ever done like a windmill or cave? Are you haunted, or you got any plans to do that, or a particular something that's completely out there, like a stair lift or or a train or something like that?
What you let me? I don't think we've done anything overly unique as such. Architecture wise, you've got to go some to beat. Well, a few locations actually we've been to. Endcliffe Hall in Sheffield was absolutely brilliant. It was a gorgeous building, which is used by I think it's the RAF Auxiliary Forces. Is that right, Dale?
No, it was Army Corps, wasn't it?
Army Corps, yeah. I know it was military.
It was military, yeah.
But it's absolutely brilliant, gorgeous building. Otterburn Castle, again, that was historic and looks absolutely gorgeous. But as far as doing things like...
I think the most unique place we've done is HARPC.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah, for the but we do have one that's not been edited.
Yeah,
if you remember.
Yeah. Yes.
So we can't say any more on that, but that's going to be.
Right, we'll bleep that one out there.
Sarah and Jane in the chat are saying "shush, no secrets." So I'm
not saying that.
Yeah, that's Sarah saying that there, like, you know. But yeah, I suppose, yeah, it's great doing those types of buildings, and I suppose it's really on to get going into those types of castles, and, you know, it's those sorts of buildings there. I was going to say that, so next agenda there is talking about the senses, which was probably going back to diet and food again as well, going back to confectionery food and confectionery food. I'm just going to go through a few comments first, though, is Mary says, Mary just commented, Mary Nolan a few seconds ago said, you need to go to Loftus Hall and Charleville Castle in Ireland, guaranteed to want and return more than once.
I would love to do Charleville Castle.
Charleville Castle.
Yeah, I would love to do that.
That's the thing with, as we said, like the West of Ireland, we're all filled like the West of Ireland, like Dublin's mainly condensed, like it's the West of Ireland. There we have all the unique buildings and castles and mansion houses, types of history, the banshee, types of haunting. I'll just go through a few more of the comments. I think that's about it. So we'll go on to the agenda anyway. So the agenda is senses there, folks. And keep your comments coming in there. And I've got to mention, you can contact us. Just leave a comment on this if you have a question for the Are You Haunted team, or if you want to go to the our website, www.GhostÉire.net, and go to the contact page and just fill in the blanks there. So we're talking about the senses there, and I'm going to do just a list of the senses. Like people will commonly know, the common 5 senses, like seeing, hearing, touch, taste, and smell. Well, I'm going to ask the lads there a few questions about the other types of senses, the uncommon ones. So going back to diet and food there, for past investigations you've done, locations, hunger, have you felt anything with hunger, like sudden hunger coming in, Dale?
Always. Now, it's not something I've ever come across in terms of investigating. I've never gone into a room that's more active than another, and then all of a sudden felt hungry. I think that the main senses that I get, and apologies if I'm answering this before you've asked the question, are
go ahead.
The increased senses. It's not different senses. It's more your increased sense. You're in a dark room, sometimes on your own, and it's a heightened sense of sight, smell, hearing. As I say, if you're sat on your own in a room, you're listening intently. It's silent, so you're listening and you're hearing everything. You can hear a pin drop. It's that kind of senses that I get that are really heightened on an investigation. In terms of hunger, no, not ever really experienced anything like that personally.
There's times when we've walked into a location or an area of a venue that we're investigating, and one of us will start feeling nauseous or get a headache or feel a bit queasy. And I'm not saying for one moment that's anything to do with the paranormal side of things. But when somebody's like totally normal one minute and then they're in a different area and the next minute they're a bit it might be connected. But I remember when I was at Tutbury Castle once, and that one of their rooms, I think it's the King's Chamber, King Charles Chamber or something. I can't exactly remember what it is. And every time I used to walk in there, that made me feel really nauseous. And I think I finally put it down to the fact that the floor was wooden floor with a carpet on top, and it was slightly uneven, but the carpet was such a busy carpet pattern that the fact that when you walked on this uneven floor and you were looking on the floor where you were walking, the combination of the uneven floor and the busy pattern kind of made me feel seasick. That's a bit strange.
True, yeah. It's like what you're seeing there. Yeah, it's like what you're seeing there. Like there's that phenomenon where the car is going up the hill. People think it's going up the hill. Down the hill. No, up the hill. But it's actually going up the hill. It's the landscape. It's the landscape around it that makes it look like it's going up the hill.
What
people,
car?
Leaving the car. It's probably my car. It won't go fucking down the hill. So going back, the senses. So another one that probably that links in with nausea, I suppose the gag and reflux there. I suppose electroception. So have you ever felt any like changes in electrical field around you, like, or electrostatic energy, like you put your hand out and you feel static? Or
no, the only thing I kind of, and obviously I can't talk for any other member of the team. Again, the only thing I get is where it does feel like a tingling, like static build-up on the back of my head, back of my neck. That happens occasionally when I'm walking in a room or in a certain area of a building that's supposedly haunted. And I don't know why it would do that. I don't know whether there is something there that is of an electrical nature in the atmosphere, or whether it's mind over matter and it's, things are being produced by my own kind of senses, if you like, my own imagination. But that's the only kind of thing I get, and it is like a tingling electric static sensation, very very weird, and it makes me feel a bit shivery and cold, to be honest. Right,
and like you said, Dale, there it's you with the darkened room and it's heightened there as well. We were talking about light, as it was mentioned with that comment there, as you said earlier, with light there, people, what my theory is that light is speeding up time. And as we go further out to space, it's measured in light years, and we're told by mainly a lot of religious organizations that, to follow the light, that we're not supposed to be doing ghost hunting. So if we slow time down, you see that in like darkness, you can actually tune in more with the spirit world, and the dimensions aren't seen like length, breadth, and width. So the 3 dimensions we commonly see. So going back as well, so that's electroception. I'm finding out new stuff all the time. Balance. Is there anything like? Have you felt like balance or movement? Have you felt anything like a change, like you're doing weird stuff with your hands or arms? And have you felt like that after a location or in a location?
7 pints of Guinness.
I'm trying, lads. I'm trying to do it as a different question.
No, I've not had any kind of. I don't think I've had anything affecting my balance. Obviously, what I mentioned about. Where did I say it was? Tutbury Castle. Did I say it was?
Yeah.
Apart from that, no, I'm pretty. I don't normally get affected by much at all, to be honest. I think I must put up this kind of barrier that says "stay away from me" kind of thing, else you'll be in trouble. But I don't know about Dale. You, Dale?
I
mean, Dale's that skinny and tall anyway, that a slightest bit of wind will blow him over off balance.
This is something I was going to say. I've been to locations before, and again, when you're, I keep coming back to when you're in a dark room and you're waiting for something to happen. We don't always sit down. We sometimes do. We stand up and listen and wait. And I felt it a couple of times that I'm losing my balance. Is it because I'm just stood up? I'm stood still for so long in one place, I start to feel wobbly, or is it paranormal? I don't know. It's hard to say. Nothing's ever pushed me over, kind of thing. I'm not going to say I've ever lost my balance, but yeah, there are times where I've been stood in one position for a period of 20, 30 minutes, maybe not moved, because you don't want to move, because you don't want to make a noise. And then have to rule it out as natural rather than paranormal. So I try and stand still for as long as possible so I can get acclimatized to the room, the sounds, and whatever. And then I start to move a bit. I start to sway a bit because I'm been stood there for so long. As I say, I can't really say I can't put it down to being paranormal, unfortunately.
True. And like I myself with the channeling there, I noticed in the last few years when I'm channeling, like doing a seance or something, I do a little, tick or a little twinge like I have towards a particular side of my shoulder, which is particular weird there. I'll just read out, I'll just go through that quiz. You got 5 minutes, folks, before Dale answers it.
I'm really excited.
I don't see anybody else commenting on what it could be. So it's the clue is disappeared, and it's a location. And if you don't get it in the next 5 minutes, it's going to Dale if you can get it right. So we've just gone through a few.
Dale can play.
There's a few question people coming in. Laurie as well, part of GhostÉire. She says anxiety for no reason, headaches and nausea. That's what Laurie gets with us on investigations. Mary as well, Mary Nolan as well commented there. Mary from Back in Time Paranormal Investigators says, I hate apologising for my tummy rumbling whilst investigating. That happens to us all.
Jane is an expert. Oh my God, you should see on the outtakes where Dale and Jane are doing a vigil and Jane's stomach makes this high pitched noise. And I'm not kidding you, Dale absolutely poops his pants and drops the F-bomb.
I did, and it ended up being Jane's tummy, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, it's a common thing there. Like, so Tony Hannigan says he feels pressure. She feels pressure in the head, no air, hard to describe it. Okay. Tracy Finch says seen loads of orbs, not on here. Like, okay. Laurie says, comes back again and says, don't know why I pay electricity as everything I touch in the house blows. That's true. That's why you're not on tonight with me there, co-hosting, Laurie, there. I'm joking. And Mary says again, did you ever hear music on location, like a piano playing for something like, or perhaps like a flute or something singing, someone singing? Have you had so like music or music instrument?
We've heard different members of the I Haunted team have heard what I would describe as music, or a female singing a tune, or so la la la, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But there's one specific bit where we were investigating the New Mills Art Theatre, and Ben and myself were upstairs, and I kept hearing this what sounded like a faint radio. Kind of the only thing I can describe it as was a faint radio broadcast. And I said to Ben, can you hear that? And he's like, what? And I was like, it's like a faint radio broadcast. And it's something that he actually heard earlier. So he confirmed that he'd heard the same thing. And it wasn't there all the time. And it was like, I couldn't pinpoint where it was in proximity. It just seemed like, I don't know, it was weird. It was just around us, but not around us, if that made sense. But yeah, I've heard that kind of stuff before. Yeah.
Yeah, and yourself, Dale, you've heard.
Yeah,
stuff
again,
like that?
While we've been filming for Are You Haunted, that as Phil said, certain members of the team have heard what sounds like it was definitely female audio, and you could say it sounded like singing as such. It was a range of notes, just in quick succession, and you can't put it down to someone talking or footsteps or the common things. It was more like singing, as Phil says.
True. And it's like, I suppose, going back to the senses again, like I forgot to mention, like hearing. I suppose the hearing is the best sense we've got in the human body, as in the brain evaluates it so quickly, like how you're able to interpret the vibrations coming through my voice now, my accent. Your electrodes in your brain is actually analysing it quicker than it is through sight. You know, as they say, like sounds actually travels faster than light. Well, the brain recognizes it quicker than light. That's the that's the theory.
Yeah,
that's the one there. Like, but going back to the senses again, as you know, like sound is probably the best way. That's how digital recorders and all video cameras are able to pick it up. I'll go through a few more last few questions and comments before we. Fortunately, the hour's gone quick. Like, you know. Tim O'Sullivan says, nice headset, Anthony. Thank you, Tim. Michelle Conley from Back in Time Paranormal Investigators says, I know what you mean. Laurie says, again, anybody, probably another question, anybody have extreme sleep paralysis after an investigation? REM, rapid eye movement. Would that affect any of you there, Dale and Phil?
Ben,
me. I've never been affected by sleep paralysis or anything like that, or
No.
rapid eye movement. It's not something that's bothered me. I don't know about you, Phil.
No, it's not really something. But I've experienced it once or twice when I was mid-20s. But Ben, our son, has it quite regular, and he actually kind of wakes up to see things in his bedroom. So very weird things. Things stood there, and very strange.
You need to leave him sleep.
Yeah.
What, Dale?
He needs to sleep. You need to let him sleep. Bad parents. I'm only joking. But I suppose it's, I think people have come across there with the sleep paralysis. I think when they're first investigating or when they're first doing it, they're like, especially around the 20s or around the early 20 mark, they see these shadows at the front of their bed, or I don't know what it's to do with ancestors telling us not to do what we're doing. It's indoctrinated into us. Just a few more last questions before Dale gets the answer. You got 1 more minute, folks. Strange question, but do you think there's a link with an experience and epilepsy? I suppose that would was a link with an experience in epilepsy. I suppose with many ailments there, I suppose there's a lot of links, I suppose, depending on your diet, how fit you are, if you're taking any medication, it depends on all that. Larry says, me too, tall black man and an old lady in my life. That's Larry's experience. So, folks, nobody's got the answer to the quiz. So I'm going to pass it over to Dale. Dale's going to give the answer, and if not, what's the answer? And the clue was disappeared and location.
It's something I've always been fascinated in, and I've always wanted to go there, the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah, woo! That's the answer, Bermuda Triangle. I'll put you in the draw personally there, Dale. There.
Thanks.
That's the one. The Bermuda Triangle there, just to show everyone where it is. It's not in County Wexford or Wicklow. It's just there, just below Dale, to the left of. So I won't be going anywhere there soon anyway, because it's too not within the 5 kilometres. But so you'd like to go there?
I would love to, not necessarily go there because I'll probably disappear knowing my luck, but I'd love to investigate. I'd love to go to Bermuda, to the island, or even to the southern tip of Florida, where I was watching a program on it the other day. I'll say quickly because obviously it's time, but there's so many factors that could potentially explain the goings on, but then there's so much that's gone on that it can't be explained either. And that's what fascinates me about the Bermuda Triangle. Something I'd love to know more about.
And Phil, I'll just read the last few more comments there. Tracy Finch says, interesting. Good job, Dale. Kevin says, Alcatraz. Tracy Finch says, can't wait to go there. So, folks, tomorrow I think Phil and Sarah are on the Chronicles of the Supernatural tomorrow night. That's another show. It's on from 8 p.m. till 10 p.m. Tune in for that. That's the Chronicles of the Supernatural. That's with Jared Hughes and Gary Waters. And if you want to learn more about Are You Haunted, subscribe to their channel, Are You Haunted, and go to the Double Yew Production website, which I had earlier on. Do you want any comments there, Phil?
You can always catch it on Amazon Prime as well if you've got Prime. It's free.
Oh, Amazon Prime as well. Go. Amazon Prime, folks. You can always catch Are You Haunted? And I'll be putting a few more posts. Like the Facebook page, any social media pages as well. Dale, any last comments?
No, just thank you very much for having us, really. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks very much for inviting us.
And hopefully next time.
Rude, I was talking there.
And definitely I'll stay. Fuck. No, let it all out now.
I was going to say.
And next week's show as well. Go ahead, Phil. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say,
One delay.
thanks for inviting us on, and on behalf of all the Are You Haunted team, I hope everybody stays safe and well.
Yes.
Yes.
That's fine. I know it's same to yourselves, and hopefully in the future we'll get another couple of you guys on as well there, and good luck in the future and stay safe and well as well. And
Thank you.
hopefully we can all connect all in Ireland as well. More than welcome there. In 2 weeks' time, folks, we have a paranormal team from Galway, Paranormal Supernatural Investigations Ireland, and they'll be talking about the locations they've done, PSII, with Anthony Douglas and Richard Morrison there. So they'll be coming in 2 weeks' time. Thanks you, Dale, and thank you, Phil, and good luck in the future, and I'll talk to you soon. And thank you, folks, there for commenting tonight there.
Thanks for the questions.
Thank you for your questions.
Bye. Slán go fóill.